Hello, in this video, we are going to derive the sigma molecular orbitals for benzene using the chem method of the correspondence theorem. Here we have a quick sketch of the carbon skeleton of benzene, and we realize that the shape is a perfect hexagon. We will assign coordinates to each of these carbon atoms consistent with the D6H symmetry of the molecule. Here we tabulate a set of coordinates for the carbon atoms and for the sigma orbitals that are based on those carbon atoms, consistent with the D6H symmetry of the molecule. We have made a point to make it planar so that the z coordinates are going to be 0. We developed this delta 6 permutation representation for the sigma bonding, and we look for just those particular basis functions for the irreducible representations that are not all 0. So if we do that, we get to break it down into A1G, B2U, E1U, and E2G. And for reference, the basis functions for each irreducible representation are listed below here. And again, in table 2, we list the irreducible representations in this symmetry point group and their associated basis functions. Now we check the coordinates. We insert them into the basis function for a particular irreducible representation. If they are not all 0, then we know that that irreducible representation is included in that delta 6 permutation representation. Here we see that none of the coordinates are 0, so therefore A1G is included. With sigma bonding, we have the situation that permutation representation delta 6, not only does it tell us what's included, but that's also going to be the final version for the sigma bonding. So not only are we trying to evaluate the functions to see whether they're all null or not, but simultaneously we are figuring out the coefficients for each orbital in each linear combination of atomic orbitals in the molecular orbital. So here we see for B2U, we have 1s and minus 1s. So therefore, this is included as well in the permutation representation. For E2G, we have two different degenerate basis functions. The first one is 2xy, and we evaluate these terms in table 5. Here we compute the coefficient values, the basis, for each of the 6 carbon atom sigma orbitals based upon the second of the E2G basis functions, x squared minus y squared. In table 7, we evaluate the first of the E1U basis functions. So this is the basis function x. So again, we just write down the x coordinate for each of the positions, and that is the evaluation of the basis function at that particular point. And we see that none of these are 0, so therefore E1U is definitely included in that permutation representation. the second of the two E1U degenerate representations. Basis functions is going to be the basis function y. So notice we just write down the y coordinate, and that is the value of our coefficient for the linear combination that's compatible with the E1U irreducible representation. So here we summarize the linear combinations, the sigma orbitals of the carbon atoms on benzene. We just write down the coefficients and the sigma 1 through 6 that comes after it. Notice that if we have a change from a blue to a red color, that lets us know that we have a node in our molecular orbital. In this slide, we simply took some of the values where we had a constant value of square root of 3 over 2, for example, and we divided through to get everything into kind of like least terms. We get a slightly cleaner looking version of the same orbitals, but it has the exact same overall value. So here we can visualize what these molecular orbitals look like based upon carbon 1s orbitals. And we're doing these in order of energy. So the lowest energy of these molecular orbitals is going to be the A1G all bonding combination. Next, we have the two examples of the E1U doubly degenerate representation. So here is the first one. And here is the second of those. Next, we have the two E2G doubly degenerate representations. So they're next highest in energy, and they're equal in energy to each other. That is what degenerate means. So here's the first. And here is the second of the E2G pair. Last but not least, the highest energy of these molecular orbitals is going to be the B2U non-degenerate representation. And we notice that it has an all antibonding configuration among the carbon atoms. So it's going to be the highest in energy. Now, in benzene, available for sigma bonding, we have a number of orbitals on carbon. We have 1s, 2s, and 2p. And we have the hydrogen 1s orbitals. And these orbitals have different energies from each other. So one of the important things that we have to think about when we're looking at bonding is that things have the proper symmetry, and group theory is excellent for doing that. What also is necessary is that the orbitals, the atomic orbitals from which we start, have to have the same or pretty close energies. The closer they are, the more strongly the bonding is going to take place. So in the situation of benzene, we have the situation that the 1s orbitals of carbon are very, very low in energy, so they are not going to mix at all with the hydrogen atoms. So that's why we had our lowest energy configurations we've shown so far were just with carbon. We notice that the hydrogen atoms of benzene are related by symmetry in exactly the same way as the carbon atoms are. But the carbon atoms and the hydrogen atoms are completely distinct from each other. There is no symmetry operation that turns one into the other. However, the hydrogen atoms make a hexagonal shape in the exact same way as the carbon atom did. Therefore, by both the Kim method and the traditional projection operator method, we can set up the linear combinations of the hydrogen atoms in exactly the same way as we did with the carbon atoms. And since we've already worked it out for the carbon atoms in terms of sigma 1 through sigma 6, we can immediately write down the results. Now, we know that these molecular orbitals only involve hydrogen, but that's based upon energy considerations, not symmetry. So we can come up with 6 irreducible representations for the bonding of the hydrogen 1s atoms in the same way as we did with the carbon 1s atoms. So we have next a doubly degenerate E1U representation. It has exactly the same form as for the carbon atoms, but now it just involves the hydrogens because they have their energy isn't consistent, isn't close enough to the carbon 1s's for them to mix. So they make their own combination. And here we have the second of the E1U combinations for the hydrogen 1s orbital. Next in energy, we have the E2G doubly degenerate representation. And here we have it illustrated for the combination that just involves the hydrogen atoms. And here is the second of the doubly degenerate E2G combinations, but just involving hydrogen atoms, not involving the carbon at all. And recall, this is a consequence of the fact that for molecular bonding to take place, the orbitals have to be close in energy, which is something we can't quite figure out from group theory directly. So then the highest energy of these linear combinations involving just the hydrogen 1s orbitals is going to be the B2U combination because we notice that it's essentially all antibonding among the hydrogen atoms. Now the carbon 2p orbitals have to be close enough in energy that they can readily bond with the hydrogen 1s orbitals. So now we have a third set of molecular orbitals that involve both the carbon 2p orbitals and the hydrogen 1s orbitals. And again, we just apply the exact same symmetry considerations that we did before, and we can almost immediately write down what these orbitals look like. And A1G, the all bonding combination, is going to be the lowest energy of this group. So next we have the doubly degenerate E1U combination, now showing that we have orbitals on both the carbons and the hydrogens. Notice that all the bonding combinations between the carbons and the hydrogens are all bonding. And here is the second of the E1U doubly degenerate representations, showing the molecular orbitals involving both carbon and hydrogen. Next highest in energy is going to be the E2G doubly generate representation. This one including both carbon and hydrogen atoms, the atomic orbitals on those atoms in the molecular orbital. Next in energy, we have the E2G doubly generate representation, showing the contributions of both carbon and hydrogen atoms in the molecular orbital. And then finally, the highest one in energy among the sigma combinations, we have the B2U, showing the contributions of both the carbon atoms and the hydrogen atoms. So in summary, as far as the sigma bonding goes, the lowest in energy is going to be the combinations that just involve the 1s on carbons. Then the next high is going to be the combinations that involve just the 1s on hydrogen. And then the highest in energy among the sigma bondings are going to involve both the 1s on hydrogens and the 2s and 2p orbitals on carbon. If you count all the electrons, you'll notice that we're short of 6, and those are going to end up going into the pi combination. So the pi combinations are going to be the highest occupied molecular orbitals for benzene. I thank you very much for your kind attention. Stay healthy, stay safe, and have a good one.